In a world that is driven by lifestyles of expediency, we often work long hours, carry a lot of stress, eat unhealthy, and generally leave less time to sleep and recharge our bodies. This leads to a condition where the body suffers from a lack of sleep, is exhausted, and in a desire for sleep. This condition is referred to as fatigue and is a common lifestyle condition of modern times. There are varying levels of fatigue, and a chronic fatigue is an overwhelming desire for sleep caused by extreme exhaustion and results in decreased capacity for mental or physical work. Driving fatigued has sometimes been shown to be as dangerous as driving under the influence of alcohol, since both conditions are associated with reduced alertness, slower reaction times, and an impaired decision-making while driving.
There is a lot of rollovers and rollovers of vehicles that would have just left the road, either because the driver was not concentrating or he was fatigued, having not rested after maybe, knocking off from wherever he or she is working. And that is the tendency that we see in this country. You will be at work the whole day on Friday, and instead of resting at the end of the day, you take a journey of more than 1,000 kilometers. So along the way, the body being what it is, sometimes, with the comfort of the vehicle, with everything that, is inside that car, whether it's an aircon or whatever, the body will say, but here I need to rest. But if you keep on pushing, you are going to end up not even seeing that you are on the road. The next thing, you just realize that your vehicle is outside. When you struggle with it, it rolls over.
In road safety terms, a driver with signs of fatigue poses a real danger due to their decreased level of concentration to driving activity and their predisposition to falling asleep at the wheel of a moving vehicle, which can lead to a catastrophic road crash. Too often, drivers misread their level of fatigue and take to the road and drive long distances, ending in road crashes that cause injuries and death to themselves and other road users. The dangers of fatigue can affect any driver without discrimination. Many drivers ignore the signs of fatigue and do not know when their level of fatigue is significant enough to affect their ability to control a moving vehicle. The result is the driver may fall asleep at the wheel, leading to loss of control and causing a preventable road crash.
There are a lot of stories on the roads, and those of us who are stakeholders in road safety, we can attest to that fact that there are a lot of stories that are taking place on the roads. Sometimes you'll be, noting a vehicle coming on the opposite direction, and you'll be certain that, as you are able to note that there is a vehicle, also the driver of that vehicle is noting that you are coming on the other side. Not knowing that maybe this person is not himself, either because of fatigue. 5 meters away from, passing your vehicle, he gets onto your lane. And if you are driving at a high speed, that's what you will end up, receiving in terms of injuries.
Driver fatigue is not just a problem for long-distance drivers only, and people do not generally become tired from driving. In most cases, a driver who is fatigued was already tired when they got behind the wheel from physically demanding roles. The human body is unable to fight the urge to sleep and will eventually give in at an inconvenient time. Some of the causes of driver fatigue may include the following: a lack of quality sleep. Driving at a time when you would normally be sleeping, for example, driving overnight. and in some cases sleeping disorder due to medical condition. Operator fatigue is the inability of a person to operate equipment in their area of work due to being fatigued, and this is a critical issue in public transportation where drivers have to constantly battle fatigue to ensure the safety of their passengers.
Tota hela se nka se buang ka bokhutshwane ke gore ma drivera go ikhutseng ga bone ke mo direnkeng, ke mo di road blockong, ke mo di filling stationeng, and bontsi ba nako like tla ke re di bus tsa A1 tsa bo Francistown go tswa ha go emella go ya Francistown go ikhutseng ga bone ba tswa ha mo renkeng ba checkile di tire le gore di bus di fiti and everything.
Public transport carries lots of lives, and drivers often work long hours driving buses over long distances. This places drivers at a high risk of being fatigued, which may place the lives of passengers at a risk of a road crash.
Ha o tsamaya mo tsele mo utlwa o le karolo tsa pa mme o se gore go maharape nna ke ya maela tsa ga tsela hela ke be ke ya maela le bone ba holo ga be ke dikolo ga ba sa me ke utlwa gore nya mme go ra re ga ke na le tsa pa le lentsi le bona o tla bona ba holo ga hela ba stala le mathata pele nna go tsonga berwa ga pere tswela le mosepeng ka gore ba gompie go la ha o tserela le 7 hours mo tsele ga bana mathata ya no tlhele go sna mosola gore khotsa o ka taboga kana o ka re ha o utlwa le tsapa wa ipatika re maela tla se ga tsela hela ha be re itapolosa le bapagami ba me ha re be re tswele
go ikhutseng ga driver gape ko mahalape 10 kilometers before o tsena mo mahalape go utlhela bontsi bana go gona le a road block o tsa bo 2-3 minutes o le gono go o ikhuditse ga o tsena go mahalape o tsa bo 10 to 12 minutes o restile. From there o tla bo tsama another 45 kilometers go ya Phalape. Ga o tsena go Phalape wa ikhutsa gape, you take about 10 to 15 minutes o ntse o ikhuditse. Then from there o tsena mo baseng o ya Francistown. Ga o tsena go mapodising a Sese o boa gape o tsa another 2-3 minutes o ikhuditse. Then from there go tseng o tsena go Tonota o simolla ditopo go ema stop by stop go tsena bo Shashe go tsena go Francistown. Go Francistown o ema more than 5 to 6 times o ntse o ema mme go ema gone mo wa bo o ema o relax your mind as a driver.
The most common way of preventing fatigue is to sleep enough hours and ensure that you are well rested before getting behind the wheel of a car. Minimizing activities that lead to mental and physical exhaustion is also important to ensure that you are alert and mentally ready to drive the vehicle. Some of the common ways of reducing driver fatigue include the following: getting a good night's sleep before heading off on a long drive. An average human requires a daily quality sleep of about 6 to 8 hours per night. Avoid driving for more than 8 to 10 hours a day. Share the driving wherever possible. Take regular breaks of 15 minutes every 2 hours of driving. Avoid driving at night or at times when you are usually sleeping. Avoid drinking alcohol before driving. Even a small amount can significantly contribute to driver fatigue. If you feel yourself getting drowsy, take a break to rest and recover. By following these guidelines, we'll ensure that we reduce the number of fatigued drivers on the road and will reduce the number of incidents of loss of control associated with driver fatigue. Remember, the results of driver fatigue can be deadly to ourselves, our loved ones, and other road users. Let us be responsible at all times to avoid any preventable injuries on the road, and we remain safe on the roads. Across the country, major highways have designated resting points that are provided for long-distance travelers to use as a place to rest and even sleep to reduce fatigue before continuing with your journey. It is recommended that drivers must stop for a rest every 200 kilometers or 2 hours of driving during their journey. A good rest should last about 15 minutes, including stepping out of the vehicle for a leg stretch and drinking some water. During the festive season and other busy public holidays, the Motor Vehicle Accident Fund together with other road safety stakeholders, often hold roadside educational campaigns to give drivers the message of road safety, even give them a chance to take a break from a long drive. Various stakeholders all work together to provide comprehensive message of road safety. It is through these roadside educational campaigns that the MVA is able to impact many drivers with the hope that the message will lead to compliance to road safety.
Then we also target drivers through our roadside educational campaigns, which we go by the roadside, especially during holidays, and then we mount educational roadside campaigns targeting drivers. And this is where we talk to drivers on issues of fatigue, on issues of vehicle safety, and their roadworthiness, their vehicle's roadworthiness.
Sometimes you'll find the police, MVA and the transport people just stopping people and say, get out of the car and come and get materials here. That alone, those who are being fatigued, that can actually interrupt. That can interrupt, the fatigue. That can interrupt, drivers who were probably feeling sleepy. They can have a moment to rest. That, you can't stop educating people. You can't stop raising awareness that these behaviors are wrong. These behaviors are deadly. These behaviors are putting people's lives in danger. And it is also very important that when we provide educational materials, we put a face to it. When I say putting a face to it, bringing somebody who has probably perished, somebody who has been involved in a car accident, making them tell their story. It is the story, the story of people that can also contribute to people changing their behaviors.
Well, our message has always been clear that for you to take a journey that is more than 200 kilometers in distance, you have to be sure that you are well, you have rested, physically you are okay, and you are not affected by anything that is going to affect your driving. You have to make sure that you know where you will rest. You have to be sure that you have somebody with you who can assist you in case you cannot take it anymore. You have to make sure that you plan for your trip. And where you think things are not okay for you, don't continue driving. Stop and rest.
The Trans-Kalahari Highway is a road network that spans over 1,900 kilometers from Walvis Bay in Namibia through Botswana to Pretoria in South Africa. The corridor is an important transport and logistic route enabling regional trade between South Africa, Botswana, and Namibia. The Trans-Kalahari Corridor Secretariat was established to promote regional integration brought on by the highway and joint law enforcement to promote road safety to the users of the highway, including long-distance truckers and citizens of the three countries.
I'm Sehudi Mohotsi. I'm the director responsible for regional corridors in South Africa. I'm also a co-chair for the Trans-Kalahari Management Committee, representing the Ministry of Transport in South Africa. I do that with my colleagues in Botswana, Namibia, as co-chairs. So I'm one of the co-chairs from South Africa, Ministry of Transport.
We are here promoting TKCS, which is an initiative between the three countries of Botswana, Namibia, and South Africa.
A corridor transverse from the port of Walvis Bay through Botswana to Gauteng.
From South Africa, the Trans-Kalahari is a very important corridor for us. It's about regional integration, but also to grow economies of the region. It connects us with Botswana and Namibia, but it further goes beyond the three signatories, which is Botswana, Namibia. It also connects us further with Angola, joining the Transkunene, going up to Angola. So it's a very important trade route for us.
Other important issue of the joint law enforcement is that we learn of the challenges on the corridor. Most of these issues which we have learned are the one which we now bring them to co-chairs for discussion and try to harmonize. So basically, as Namibia, we are happy that we are here. In Namibia, currently, as you might know, we are the hosting of TKC. TKC is hosted by Namibian government. The offices are in Namibia, but of course, we rotate the chairmanship between and among the member states.
Through a memorandum of understanding signed by member countries, TKC is helping to bring infrastructure development to many of the towns and villages along the way.
We have a long-standing relationship which is aligned to our SADC protocol. With the TKC, we are trying to facilitate free movements of goods between the three countries. However, in terms of MVA fund, our focus is on road safety. As you may be aware, the country has been experiencing an increase in road traffic accidents.
There's a lot of high movement of people across the three countries and beyond, some come for tourism, some are also just doing family relations in terms of social cohesion. So we see a role of this corridor just going beyond just trade. It also involves people. And I think what is very important for us is that at all times we must remember that economy and trade is about people. And if we're able to connect our people together and make sure that they're able to can communicate and work together, we'll then achieve our ambitions for a better integrated Africa. And a better integrated Africa means doing business together amongst ourselves, trading amongst ourselves.
If you travel from Namibia to Botswana through South Africa, you want predictability. So the issue of harmonization becomes important. You don't want that when you are in Namibia. Let's take an example which we are trying to harmonize. Issue of alcohol level. Namibia is a bit higher than in Botswana and in South Africa. You might find that when you're in Namibia, you can take a certain, the level of alcohol is low, is high. But immediately when you cross over to Botswana, then it becomes illegal. So those are issues which we're trying to harmonize.
Road safety agencies from member countries regularly host road safety awareness campaigns to promote road safety along the corridor.
We have seen a lot of visitors from our neighboring countries also being affected by road safety, by road accidents in our road. And part of our coming here is to ensure that we disseminate information about road safety so that we continue to save lives. In 2016, for the first time in many years, MVA Fund experienced a significant operating loss of 260.6 million as a result of the direct consequence of increasing road traffic facilities. Our public education is geared towards promoting safety in the roads. It involves drivers, pedestrians, passengers, and children. A number of initiatives have already been taken, which include the community, the schools, and the general public. However, our focus in TKC is that the fund, together with its sister fund of Namibia and South Africa, have set up a stall which disseminate messages on road safety. This empowers most of those who are doing cross-border activities to know about the safety requirements of and the legislative requirements of the different countries, and also where to turn to in the event that there's a road traffic crash.
Yes, the issue of road safety is very, very important. If you check behind there are a lot of cars which have been impounded. We don't want this road to become a death trap. So that's why we are trying to promote road safety. Over and above that, if you look at some of these gazebos, it's not only us enforcing the law, but we are also doing promotional. So you find MVA, if something happens, you find people who are doing health checks and all those other issues. So we are trying to promote health safety, which ultimately goes to road accidents. So ultimately we want to reduce the accident on our road. We want that people who travel here, it's safe more for the motorist, because if you are tired, we have talked about truck stop. We are trying to promote that. Some of the towns are very far from each other. So we want to have truck stop so that the truck can stop and there's safety there. He can rest, he can have other amenities before he travels. So that's what we are trying to do.
Our corridors brings social challenges where they passes or where they traverse. Those social challenges include road accidents, include people losing their lives. Now, an issue of community safety and road safety is a very important aspect for us. That is why even at the launch here, we ensure that we bring local people, the Khosi, Batalipele, youth leaders, women leaders, to make sure that we speak in the same voice issues of road safety. People must understand when the road passes here, what are the issues that will affect them? What are those issues and how do we deal with them together? You know, we want young people to understand and take the message of road safety to their hearts. Because we're losing young people on our roads. We're losing very credible people who must build our economies. So when we are busy integrating our economy, improving trade, if we don't deal with issues of road safety tomorrow, we won't have people who will be running these economies.
Join us again in the next episode as we look at other road user behaviors and actions that lead to road crashes, as we explore desirable ways to keep us all safer on the road.